Hello, everybody. I'm Joey. I'm the technical director at the Helium Foundation, and Abai is actually my boss, so you get to see the whole team today. This morning, Abai gave like a really great overview of the Helium network and what we're up to. Yesterday, Amir gave an awesome network of like the Helium network more broadly. I want to give you a little bit of an overview of what it means to build on Helium's IoT network. Now, historically, I've done some sort of wild demos talking about everything from IKEA hacking an air quality sensor to be on the Helium network to some more wild things like internet-connected chicken coops and supply chain tracking for small coffee shops. Today, we're going to talk with Jose. Jose is one of our partners at Rack Wireless that provides all of the hotspots that enable this Helium connectivity throughout the world. And then also bringing on Carrie from Vaxis, who is using Helium in their Solana application to bring all this real-world connectivity into Web3. So I'm going to hand it over to Jose. Thank you.
Cool. Hello, everyone. I'm Jose Marcelino. I'm from Rack Wireless. We are part of the Helium ecosystem. We make mostly miners, but we also make a lot of the IoT solutions that run on the Helium network. And today I'm here to talk about our partner, TrackPack. This is a new company in the Helium ecosystem. They just founded this year, very, very new. But already had over 1 million geolocation tags, so they work on trackers. They are based in the UK. They already have found 5 big customers, including a very large bike manufacturer. They're working with city councils in the UK. They are developing hardware as well for Helium. And kind of already have created all this iOS and Android and web apps as well for this solution in a very, very short time. The idea of TrackPack is really to make tracking simple. So right now, trackers are kind of difficult to connect with the network initially. And they want to make this step really simple. So just scan a QR code and get the tracker on the network. Just like Helium made the LoRaWAN miners so simple as well to add to the network. And I had the pleasure to work with them on a very cool project. You might have seen this. This is the Breakpoint venue transport finder. So there's an app on the iOS App Store, and there's also a website. If you follow that link, you'll find it. And you can see where all the buses for the transportation are around all the venues. So you can find, oh, I'm just about to get one. This was a very cool project, done in a very, very short time, all thanks to the Helium network. For this project, we used 2 types of trackers, the Digital Monitor OS 3 and the Semtech reference trackers. These are readily available. You just buy them off the shelf. They cost about $50 each. But there's also a lot of other trackers you can use, like there's even cow trackers for specific applications. You can also, and thanks to the power of Helium, which is the openness and the permissionless nature of it, you can also create your own sensors. You don't need to ask anyone kind of permission to create it. You don't need any special licenses. You just connect them. It is all based in a standard LoRaWAN protocol, which is an open specification. There's a ton of tools and software environments to work on your own solution, so you can easily make a tracker as well. And there's a link there if you want to start kind of learning how to use LoRaWAN and make use of all these hotspots that are, like Abai mentioned, all around Lisbon and many, many other cities around the world. And the amazing power of this is, so as I said, this was created very quickly. It is also very, very cheap. So we have 26 trackers. This was just a small sample. There are actually 52 buses all around the venues, but we tracked a good sample of them. And it only cost us $1,800 data credits on the Helium network. So this is the measurement of bytes that you have and how much it costs. And each data credit on the network costs 0.001, so very, very tiny amount. And in total, for the 3 days tracking, it costs us 1.8 cents for each tracker. And this means that if you wanted to track the whole event across all 3 days, it will just cost you $1. So this is really the power of the network. And most importantly, once this event is over, so the trackers won't be pinging data anymore, and you won't pay anymore, so there's like no running subscription fees. And just to compare, I was looking at some other trackers, like on the cellular network, and you end up paying like $10 a month in some cases for many of these trackers. So this is a really different business model. And now I'm going to pass over to Carrie from Baxis, also going to show you a very cool solution. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carrie. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Baxis. And basically, Baxis is building infrastructure for tangible assets, and we're starting with whiskey and wine. So what does that mean? So we have basically created a pipeline for collectors to authenticate, store, and insure their wine bottles and their casks. And then we mint an NFT that represents proof of ownership and proof of authentication, which users can not only trade, but we can also use as collateral for loans. And there are obviously many more financial use cases here. So our goal was really to bring modern markets to these non-standardized, non-traditional asset classes. And it just turns out that Helium is the perfect use case for that, as we're able to use all of these different LoRaWAN sensors within the vault to create this trustless vaulting infrastructure. So right now, we're starting off with proof of presence as well as temperature and sensor data. But really the main and the best part of this is that if you have this data that's able to historically track all these different assets, then you can validate existence, security, and external factors, which means that you can really have a real-time audit of all of these bottles. So in order to better explain this, I'll give you a little bit of an explanation of what we're doing. So this is how we do this with casks. So currently, casks on our platform are outfitted with temperature and humidity sensors. And right now, this process of being able to track temperature for casks actually doesn't really exist yet because it's so expensive and difficult to get Wi-Fi into these very rural areas, specifically Kentucky. And so Helium miners give us the ability to hook up to Wi-Fi and then have a network that extends 100 miles. So that is solving one of the major problems. And then the second one is the fact that it's super expensive. Right now, to get any Wi-Fi into these rural areas, you have to actually lay cable down and do that whole situation, and it's absolutely crazy. And so we've been able to basically create this system that allows for these temperature sensors in the rick houses to be able to ping to these distillers to give them an idea and a concept of sort of what's going on in the rick houses. And so this is just temperature and humidity data. What we're working on right now is actually a proof of presence protocol. So if you think of proof of reserve for stablecoins, we're basically doing that, but for NFTs, to validate the existence of these bottles. And our R&D team is now working on a lot of different types of hardware solutions. So for example, we're coming up with a dielectric constant sensor that will be able to determine the alcohol to water percentage within the actual casks. So just to give you a bit of an idea of how easy we were able to integrate this. So I actually met Joey at Empire DAO in New York 2 months ago, and I began to learn. I knew about Helium, but that's when I really began to get into the LoRaWAN network. And really, you can start as simple as buying a LoRaWAN sensor online for 10. They were between 10 and 20 bucks, and then go to the Helium console online. And then Joey actually, if you scan this QR code, you can see the real-time temperature data. This is what Joey showed me, and I kind of flipped out. It was just so amazing and exactly what we needed. And then from there, it's literally also, this is just exported to a Google Sheet right now, just to give you an idea of how simple this is. And then from there, we've bought more miners, we've bought more sensors, we're on like a better console now that handles more devices. And then we also obviously have created services and like big queries that we're able to store and transform all this data. So really with Helium, it's been able to have this, we've been able to create this provenance for all these different assets that are within our vault. And then with that provenance and that real-time auditing of these assets, then you become the infrastructure for any fractionalization platform, asset-backed marketplace, any asset-backed bank, anything like that. And it's really because of Helium that we've been able to create that infrastructure. So I'm going to bring Joy back up to talk about how you guys can learn about this as well. Thank you. There you go.
So this should give you a little bit of an idea of the sort of opportunities that are available within the Helium ecosystem. This is internet connectivity for everyday devices. So whether it's asset tracking or temperature tracking or a machine learning informed camera that's telling you when it sees something out in the world, all of this stuff can come back into your applications and provide a ton of value at a super low cost to you. I want to talk a little bit about this kind of wild thing that we're doing. This is tomorrow. We are hosting, as a just awesome example of how Helium works, we're hosting a hackathon on a train in Portugal. The country of Portugal has wildly awesome coverage. There's been a bunch of deployers here that have built just that total industrial grade network. And so if you're interested in this, I highly recommend checking it out. There's a couple more seats available. It's a train, so we can only fit so many people. But we're going to have, there's a bunch of sponsors that have made this possible. We're going to have tons of hardware. We have all of the best expertise on board. So anything from the architecture that makes this system work down to the hardware and how you would build or deploy your own solutions on the Helium network. This would be the place to learn it, so I highly recommend it. Given we have just a little bit of time left, I would love to open this up to questions, either for me, for the Helium network, or for our co-presenters. If it was a totally solid presentation, then we're good to go. Thanks so much for taking the time to learn about this. If anyone has questions, feel free to come and find us. We'll be around. We'd love to talk about all the sensors and ways this connect. Thank you.